been director of quality for our Fort Worth location for about 7 years, and my boss told me I had to get into an executive development program. I asked him what was next for director of quality, and he didn't really know, but he went and talked to the CEO, and the CEO came back and said, well, Scott, I'd really like you to take over internal audit. And so that
career in IT audit,
after
I guess.
some discussion,
The way it was kind of presented to me, which sounds bad, but I was a college student. Essentially, it pays more and you worked less hours, is what they told me, and so I don't know. It sounded good.
I chose a career in internal auditing for 2 reasons. First was that I felt like it was a way for me to both be creative and analytical. You know, you have to get in there and you have to be able to figure out where the risks are, and that's more of a high-level thinking situation versus, you know, following a checklist. And the second reason was that it seemed like there was a lot of opportunity in internal audit.
Growing up, I've always just kind of had an interest in IT. Really, it started out with just computers and learning to build computers, and just kind of grew into a fascination with technology in general. And so this led me in college to kind of pursue a similar degree in that, and ultimately.
Well, I was very drawn to the skills that are required to be an internal auditor, and I thought that they matched up well with my strengths and my skill set.
I found out about internal auditing through a company that I was working with. It was public accounting. I was actually an external financial statement auditor, and one of our specialties was financial institutions. So during the off season, this was a small regional firm, they sold internal audit and loan review services kind of as a supplement consulting.
The most exciting part of internal audit is really the fast-paced environment that we have and the ability to sit with senior management and the business owners.
My favorite part about IT audit is just all the people you get to network with and meet. Just on a weekly basis, I'll be talking to process owners and getting to ask them about their jobs and really learn the business and find ways to improvement or just
One of the things that I got to do with McGladrey, which was really a lot of fun, was what was called social engineering.
Kind of the most exciting part about my job is that I get to be involved in all that change, and you know, each change is going to bring different risks with it and different opportunities to learn different technology. So it's been really.
Well, for me, it's 2 main things. Getting to talk to new people every day is always very exciting, and then learning about industries, companies, and processes end to end. Getting the big picture is very fascinating.
Is definitely being a strategic advisor to our clients.
I think the biggest rookie mistake I've made was in the first audits that I did, not getting all the right people involved. There's a lot of people, particularly in the management and senior management, that are very interested in what you're doing in audit.
Was the time that I listed an exception on a draft report without discussing it with management first. So really, when we threw it on the report and we had that first initial conversation with management, they were a bit taken back or surprised that we included that exception on the report. So it's always good to have that open dialogue throughout your audit and not just waiting till the end.
Actually, my roommate, when I was at a Big 4 accounting firm, he had a pretty funny story. It was one of his first clients when he was an intern, and he showed up to the client, and typically you kind of wait on your senior and you'll meet them in the lobby and then you'll go in together. But Ryan thought he was going to be pretty bold and thought he was going to be a good intern, so he just went straight to the receptionist desk without the senior, and he told him, he's like, "Hey, I'm Ryan, I'm here for the IT audit." And he caught her a little bit off guard. She didn't know that they had IT auditors coming in, and so she went and got kind of the CFO and the CIO and some of the higher up people, and were like, "Hey, there's some people here trying to do an IT audit." And anyway, people started kind of freaking out a little bit, and they kind of were scrambling with papers and freaking out, saying they weren't ready for an audit and how their controls aren't really working. And then basically Ryan checked his phone and realized that he had the wrong address. And so he was actually supposed to be at the building across the street, so he politely apologized and just went ahead and met a senior in the other building.
Well, I'm a UTD grad, so I don't make mistakes. But I have an example of one of my coworkers who made a mistake. I won't say at which company, but it is a company that I left, and when I left, I sent out an email, you know, saying thank you for, it's been great working with you, blah, 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 here's my email address, feel free to contact me. And not too long after I sent that email out, I set up my forwarding email so that any any emails that came in could get sent to the correct person, since I wouldn't be there to check email anymore. Well, one of my coworkers on another team decided that she would send me an email saying, please don't go, who am I going to have to vent to about XYZ person? And that got forwarded to XYZ person.
Internship in my first job with a Big Four accounting firm was trying to go in alone and trying to pretend like I guess knew what I was doing more than I actually did. I think it's
not using professional skepticism, because I was new and I felt like I didn't know as much as the process owners area as they did. I would take their word and give them too much credit instead of using trust but verify.
Biggest piece of advice I think I can give to students is pay attention to what Mark tells you. Learn everything you can from him, and when he tells you it's time to sit for the CIA exam, do it. That's really helpful.
It would definitely be flexible with your job, be looking for new opportunities, and be open to change as you go along. And then two, coming out of college, I'd go and get that certification, your CIA, your CFE, or your CPA, something really that solidifies that you're an expert in that field.
Really be open and be able to adapt to any situation. Make sure you ask a lot of questions. There's a lot of stuff, I mean, still to this day, I learn something new every day. You're not really going to understand a lot of this stuff, especially when you're meeting with DBAs and real technical people, so don't be scared to ask questions. The people always...
Audit is ask questions. You're going to be in situations where it's not expected for you to know the answer, but you're going to feel like you have to know everything, and you don't.
My advice would be to meet as many people as you can now in the profession, make as many connections as you can, because these will pay huge dividends down the road in your career.
Is to really do your research on the area that you're going to internal audit before you get there. You know, read up a little bit on the process, what the risks are, so you can understand and really ask those good next questions.
Inquisitive.
Attention to detail.
Communication.
Communicative.
communication.
Persistence.
Non-threatening.
Value added.
Integrity.
Evolving.
Indescribable.
Dynamic.
Valuable.
Are the process police.